What's good with it? It's your boy ATC. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you fucking with my content. You feel me? And we have finally reached the end of part 1 for Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War. It's the last episode, y'all. Episode 13. This is the review. You done made it this far with your boy. I appreciate you fucking with me and going this far. Let's get started. Ichigo finna dip when his dad asks him how he plans on getting there. Mira ends up showing up and transports Ichigo back instantly. You know what I'm talking about? Back to the hole in Holden where him and Renji was previously. And Namaya and Mira are looking down from the top door. Ichigo with more confidence this time. He walks through the Asuchi as they bow to him and kneel down. Like, they respecting my boy. And he ends up finding his Zanbakuto. Cuts to Squad 10 Barracks training ground where we see an instructor training these men to, you know what I'm saying, own their skills, you know what I'm talking about, and make them stronger for the next invasion to come. And we see Toshiro ends up showing up and basically let them know, since my Bankai been stolen, shit, please train me so I can become stronger in Zangetsu, shit, so I can be ready the next time they show up and come. I thought this next scene was crazy. We get to see Captain Mugaruma tell Shuhei to master his Bankai because, you know what I'm saying, his might be stolen in the next invasion. And he ends up talking to him and shit, and he has Mashiro. She show up and he has her holofy herself and attack this nigga. And he basically gets hit out of fucking nowhere and dropped to his knees. And in the midst of this happening, he get to talking to him like, shit, man, I ain't as weak as your last Captain Tosin. I really am about that shit. And shit, he tell him, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got no right to be disrespecting the last captain and shit. But moving on, we see the Department of the Research and Development, and Mr. Akon arrives, still recovering from the wounds, and is looking for the captain. He has a sense something is off since the captain ain't came out the office in the last 24 hours, so he ends up checking the cameras and shit. Once he checked the cameras and shit, he like, oh, okay, the captain only do this for 2 reasons or something, so he must be really hiding some shit. So he ends up checking his secret camera that he has hidden in his office, and on the footage, he ends up finding some type of game changer. This shit was like, I don't want to butcher the name for it, but it was like Ashis Sogo Jigo Jutsu or some crazy shit like that. And Akon and the woman, she looking scared as hell. And they're like, what the fuck is the captain creating? This shit gonna be wild. Baby girl Soifan chilling in the cut. She getting her body right. You know what I'm talking about? She training hard at the peak of the mountain and shit, on doing tip-ups and shit. And we flip over and see Captain Sanjin, who goes to visit the great elder of his clan to learn the secret technique of the clan and shit, since the Bankai was stolen. But the great elder really ain't trying to hear that shit. He like laughing in his face and shit. He talking about, shit, you hid your appearance and shit for all those many years. You wasn't really trying to embrace the clan, so, you know what I'm talking about, why should I teach you the secret technique? Sanjin ended up going back and forth with him, saying this for the clan and to be able to live in peace. We got to protect this world that we in right now because things is different. But the great elder, you know what I'm talking about, he ain't trying to hear that shit. And he basically say, if you disrupt the peace, then I'm going to crush you. And Sanjin say, bring it on. And then they get the clashing, which, man, fuck, I wish we could have seen more of this shit in this episode. Yeah, but still smooth like butter anyway. Cuts over to Ichigo, Namaya, and the Zanpakuto, and they come flying out of the hole to Hoden, the forge. And Namaya ends up explaining that Hoden was built on a cliff because a Bankai cannot be reformed without all the water around. Explains that this is where Ichigo and Zangetsu gonna have to say goodbye. And after this, we see Namaya's bodyguards show up, and they get the place ready for the Zanpakuto creation. Nononami, Mira, Toki, Hasakua, and Tsusumiko, which she ends up, that was a crazy one. She ended up pulling a fucking tooth out of her mouth, and she turned that bitch to a sledgehammer, which I thought was probably the coolest of the bodyguards that he has. But anyways, after this, Namaya takes the glasses off, and he gets to work. Namaya asking Ichigo if he figured out why the Asuchi turned white when it touched him, and explains that it's the hollow inside of Ichigo. So the hollow is the Zanpakuto. He ends up explaining that the hollow white was made by Aizen, which we know by the previous episodes, who layered it with countless soul reapers' souls. And it says that he did the same method when he created his Asuchi, Zanpakuto. So once that hollow entered the body, it melded with your natural soul reaper power and became his Zanpakuto. Now, Ichigo's starting to figure it out now. Namaya says to him, you know now who that man is pretending to be your Zanpakuto. In other words, he's talking about, you know, he referring to Zangetsu. And then Namaya breaks it down for him that Zangetsu is basically Yuwatch, or Yuabak, within his soul, taking form that he had 1,000 years ago. Basically, mind fucking my boy, and Ichigo thinking back like, shit, no wonder I was drawn to you in the invasion and I knew where the enemy was. No wonder you look so fucking familiar. Shit, you the Quincy inside of me. So he basically starts to question Zangetsu, and Zangetsu ends up telling him that I'm not Zangetsu. He says to him that he's the source of his Quincy powers within him. He asks him, are you your watch? And he tells him, I am your watch, yet I'm not your watch. I'm not your enemy, but I ain't your ally neither. You know what I'm talking about? Only thing he lied about was the name he told Ichigo. So in the flashbacks, we get to see all the foreshadowings and shit of what really been happening and shit. And this is some hell of a foreshadowing, by the way. This shit is top tier in my opinion. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You know what I'm saying? But this shit top tier to me, man. But the foreshadowing and shit is crazy because it shows how Ichigo, when he met him and he was trying to use the Zanpakuto, he didn't actually help him. Who helped him was the White Hollow. And who also helped Ichigo every time he had trouble or was on close to near death was also the Hollow. It was never Zangetsu to begin with. And then he goes on to explain to him why he didn't help him. He didn't help him because he really didn't want him to be a Soul Reaper. So what he did was he was suppressing his true powers, which I find to be fucking crazy because Ichigo already strong than the motherfucker as is. But now to come find out, motherfucking you watch inside been suppressing my boy shit, holding my boy back from this shit. This shit finna get crazy. And basically he tells him that he didn't want him to fight or be in danger or conflict, and this is why he was suppressing his true power. However, Ichigo chose to be a Reaper anyways of free will, and now he feels great that in the middle of this, Ichigo, you know what I'm saying, breaking his sword and shit and having it to be forged back and shit in the middle of this, he's glad to be stepping away from Ichigo finally. And in the next couple scenes, we see where he praises Ichigo for being strong and being able to watch him grow next to him and shit like that. And he says nothing could have made him more happier. This scene was so fucking hard, kid, because it's like he was talking shit to him just a couple seconds ago. Like, you know, I'm glad to be stepping away from you, but at the same time, I done watched you grow. I've been with you this whole time, and nothing could have made me more happier. And my guy say, I'm satisfied, and he disappeared. As Ichigo calls out to him, he says to Ichigo that he's been using merely a fragment of his power that he couldn't suppress, which is crazy as hell. And now he can fight with his own full power. Take it, your true Zanpakuto. This is Zangetsu. Ichigo ends up saying that there was no lies in Zangetsu or the White Hollow, thinking back. And basically, you helped me out when I needed you to, Zangetsu, and I don't care who you are. You and White Hollow are both Zangetsu to me, and let's just agree to that. Ichigo, and then we see Ichigo grabbing the Zanpakuto with his bare hands, and when he pulls it out, he evaporates the entire sea around him. Got Namaya bodyguards looking shook. And we see this cold boss scene with Ichigo wielding the two-blade Zangetsu, where he says he won't depend on them anymore. He'll fight on his own. Thank you, Zangetsu. You are me. Now this where shit get crazy. We see the end credit scene where we get to see your watch is talking to Hashwa, and he welcoming him back. He like, all right, you in return, do you got the person we need? And then we see Uryu Ishida in the cut speaking with your watch. And that's where I was like, bro, what the fuck? Whose side is this man on? Is he meeting with your watch to try to secretly get some get back for him and Ichigo's mamas, Katagiri and Masaki, Kurosaki? He trying to get some get back for their mamas, or he didn't turn 4 on my boy? You know what I'm talking about? We're going to have to just tune in for part 2, 1,000 Year Blood War reviews on ATC channel to find out. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man, this shit was crazy, man. Hell of a way to end the episode for part 1. I definitely enjoyed all of part 1. Man, if you've been hanging in with your boy on these reviews, man, I appreciate you, man. If I had to rate this shit, story was amazing. The building, the foreshadowing, the animation, the fight scenes, wasn't no filler or no shit like that. So you know what I'm talking about? Ain't really too much niggas can complain about, in my opinion. But you know how some people are always gonna have to find some shit to complain about. But man, if I had to rate this episode, well, fuck it, last 2 episodes, I'm just digging, you know what I'm talking about? But this one especially, I had to give it a 10 out of 10. And if I could just rate this season or this part 1 that I've seen so far with these 13 episodes, Yeah, 10 out of 10, man. This shit banging all together, just combined how I'm feeling. Yeah, 10 out of 10, man. This shit hit, man. I definitely enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed it. Man, it's been a pleasure of mine fucking with these motherfucking reviews, man. I had to try something new for the channel. So, yeah, man, I appreciate everybody fucking with the video, man. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. You can't forget that. Hit that notification bell if you fucking with my content. You know what I'm talking about. And also, I want to mention this also. July is gonna have season 2 or part 2 of Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War coming. So be on the lookout for that. That's when my review is gonna be dropping. So stay tuned on that. This is gonna be the last review that I'm doing of the year 2. So we're bringing in 2023 with a bang. You know what I'm talking about? And yeah, man, let's hope that due to all this success and trendiness of Bleach, that we get that Bleach game, man. I'm gonna keep throwing it out there, man, till we get one, dog. I can see a nice Bleach game for the PS5 or something like that coming out. So with that being said, man, I gotta end it off. As always, it was my pleasure. One love, two peace, and we out. Till next time. You did.